This man right here, Michael Garrett, is charged with murdering Sylvia Matthews. As we told you back in December, Matthews went to D.C. police a total of 4 times about Garrett, allegedly stalking her before she was found dead in her home. And get this, Garrett was hiding in her basement when police arrived. All new tonight, Matthews' family and district leaders say the system failed Matthews. And in this report you will only see right here on WUSA-9, they're pressing for change to prevent more deaths from happening.
Co-workers at DC's insurance department called her Sylvia. Friends called her by her middle name, Diane. Family called her Dee. They believe the entire system failed Dee before her death. Sheila Matthews is Sylvia's niece and in many ways the daughter she never had.
To me, December 3rd is the day that the city sent a very loud and clear message to women that they don't care.
This is the D.C. jail where Michael Garrett was serving a 24-year sentence for multiple burglary and assault charges against Matthews. Now, last year, Garrett applied for early release because of COVID cases inside this jail. According to family, Matthews had no idea that the man convicted of beating and robbing her got early release.
When prosecutors in the U.S. Attorney's Office objected to the early release, they added this warning. Due to the age of this case and the closure of the Federal Records Center, the government has not been able to locate the victims, nor the family members of the victim. But the Federal Records Center told WUSA-9 it has no record of an information request on the Garrett case from the U.S. Attorney's Office. The U.S. Attorney's Office has not replied to our questions about this contradiction.
We didn't know.
No, even when I saw her that Monday before.
Amazing to me that he would come back after all that time.
All that time.
Before she was killed, court records show Matthews called D.C. police on October 7th, saying Garrett tried to force his way into her home and threatened her life. It was a violation of his parole. D.C. police responded and arrested Garrett, but he was let out of jail. Matthews called police again October 15th, saying Garrett beat her and said, "I am going to kill you." Police report they couldn't find Garrett after that incident. And then on December 3rd, hours before she was killed, prosecutors report D.C. police responded to Matthews' calls twice, saying she spotted Garrett in her neighborhood breaking into her car.
Someone's violated you, and to know that they were able to do it again and be successful is disgusting.
Court records show Garrett's parole supervisor flagged the court with a notice of noncompliance the week in between his October 7th and October 15th arrests. We asked D.C.'s Offender Supervision Agency what they did once hearing about those arrests, and it responded with, it increased Garrett's supervision level, without explaining what that practically meant. Court records show no effort was made to find and arrest Garrett for those parole violations.
But I think it's also an example of the system failing her, and not just failing her once, but failing multiple times.
Charles Allen chairs the D.C. Council Judiciary Committee and believes there is a possible fix to prevent future tragedies.
How can the system be fixed?
One of the things I want to look at is, does it require legislation, or does it require these partners to come together?
The multiple agencies involved in Michael Garrett's early release and supervision declined further comment either because of internal reviews or Garrett's ongoing murder trial. Meanwhile, Matthews' niece knows what she wants to say to the man charged with murdering an aunt close enough to step in as her mother.
You destroyed a part of our family that meant so much to us. Like, whatever your obsession was, you took one person, but you really hurt people deep. You took the last, piece of my family.
In Southwest D.C., Nathan Baca, WUSA-9.
Increase our budget or face some painful financial decisions. That is the dilemma a D.C. domestic violence shelter says it's in tonight. D.C. Safe says it's in desperate need of more funding from the mayor's office. The nonprofit's director sat down with WUSA-9 investigative reporter Nathan Baca, and Nathan joins us now. Hey, Nathan.
Well, Charlotte, Mayor Bowser's budget is set to be released Wednesday. D.C. Safe says that with more domestic violence survivors than ever seeking help during the pandemic, they'll need a sizable budget increase to meet the tragic demand.
Shelter. That's what these Southeast D.C. rooms are. Shelter from the ravages of domestic violence.
We've had 500 survivors in the last 2 years here. We've fed, we've clothed, we've housed, we've transported. We have stood in streets and let people have complete meltdowns so the police won't arrest them in front of this building. We've been assaulted here. We've done everything to keep everybody safe.
D.C. Safe says the number of families seeking shelter increased 57% since the start of the pandemic.
it's been really challenging the last 2 years.
We last highlighted DC Safe during our investigation into last December's death of DC resident Sylvia Matthews. DC police say her stalker of more than 20 years murdered Matthews in her home. Her family told us Matthews kept secret much of her painful history of domestic violence.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be ashamed to ask for help.
Tell your family.
Tell somebody.
Talk
Please
to
tell
us.
somebody. Please tell somebody, because it doesn't have to end like this. Other women saying that they're going through it right now, and they're fearing the same outcome. So people saying, well, get a restraining order, and they're saying, have one, doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
We just got an email on Sunday that one of another of our survivors was killed. We're not sure how the story's going to play out, but people are killed during domestic violence.
Construction of a new shelter expected to open this fall continues. But since funding to keep these rooms open has not increased the same amount of pandemic-fueled demand, DC Safe says service cuts may have to happen without $2.5 million from Mayor Bowser's next budget.
But when people are running towards you with black eyes and broken bones and mental health and housing and babies and leaving states and running towards, like, people are running towards DC from other places.
Now, we reached out to Mayor Bowser's office, and they are keeping next year's budget under wraps until Wednesday, so DC Safe and other groups simply wait.
New tonight, a WUSA-9 investigation into the death of a DC woman has resulted in a change into how police officers protect domestic violence survivors. WUSA-9 investigative reporter Nathan Baca shows us how this rule change, I should say, could change lives, save lives.
DC police say Sylvia Matthews was stalked and murdered last December by a man she knew for decades who had just been released from prison. Police report Matthews had called them 4 times to alert them of her stalker in the weeks before and the day of her death. But the district's mandated domestic violence counseling service, DC Safe, says its counselors never got a call from DC police about Matthews in danger.
Could that have made a difference in your aunt's life?
It absolutely could. Just even knowing her options, and even as family, we didn't know that was an option. So it's kind of hard to help somebody or for someone to get help or know what to ask for when they don't know what their options are.
After our investigation into Matthews' death aired this past February, MPD and DC Safe entered into an agreement. A general order mandates police officers connect domestic violence survivors with counselors by phone when they encounter them in the field. A previous general order did not outline steps officers are now trained to take.
DC Safe, how can I help you?
Patsy Walker is one of those DC Safe counselors. From her home basement, she connects domestic violence survivors with emergency shelter options, despite the emotional toll of all involved.
That drives me crazy. That makes me so mad. And she got her kids, and she's concerned about her kids, and when you're a mom, you like a mama bear, you know what I'm saying? It's like attack. When you heard her say he was choking her and then he hit the kid, and that drives me crazy.
This domestic violence survivor talked after asking us to shield her identity. We met her inside a hotel room arranged by DC Safe as emergency shelter.
He had me threaten my life with a gun.
But this woman is now on a path to get a DC housing voucher and restarting her life away from the physical and mental abuse DC Safe says she faced at home.
DC Safe saved your life.
They saved my life.
While DC police officers are mandated to connect domestic violence survivors to DC Safe, victims can still reach out on their own. We have information on how to get emergency help on WUSA9.com and our mobile apps. Reporting in DC, Nathan Baca, WUSA9.
Yeah, and just to give you some context here, DC Safe reports an average of 123 incoming calls a day this year. That's more than 100 of our neighbors every single day calling for help after domestic violence. So if you or someone you know needs help, here's that number to the hotline, 844-443-5732. And like Nathan said, we also have it posted for you right now on our website if that's a little easier, WUSA9.com.